My name is Alicia Ashley, and I have a story to tell. This story is about the two loves of my life and the impact they had on me. So for the first half of my life, it was dedicated to dance. And the second half is to boxing. And surprisingly, there, for me, is a correlation between dance and boxing, between the brutality and the softness, the femininity and the strength. And those two careers for me had the same impact on my entire life. When a lot of people think about dance, they just think about that it's so feminine, it's so soft, it's pretty. But there is this brutal aspect to it. The thing about dance is the physicality. The thing about dance is the physicality of it. There is a number of hours you're training, and you are really brutalizing your body. Dance, for me, that sport, dance for me, when I did that sport, I put so much effort into that dance that I came out broken. And surprisingly, boxing wasn't that way. But for dance, the physical aspect of it was 8 hours of training, injuries to knees, injuries to all aspects of my body, feet, everything. But most importantly, the mental strain it really put on me. Same thing for boxing, but in a different way. If you think about boxing, you think about, when you look at it, it's just the physical aspect of it. You think that it's a brutal sport, but in fact, it's much softer than people think. And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about when I started dancing. The first half of my life dedicated to dance because my father is a dancer, and I wanted to be a dancer, and that's, ballerina. I wanted to be the first black ballerina there was, and I never got that opportunity because I got injured. And that is really devastating to me. It was at that point, because you dedicate so much of your life into one sport with no thought of what to do if you did not accomplish what you set out to do. And you have to have a certain amount of strength to be a dancer, to do not just the choreography and the physical movements of it, but to the disappointments, auditions that you never get, or not getting to be the prima ballerina, to be in the chorus as opposed to be in the front of the dance. Growing up, I was a shy individual, and I'm the youngest of boys. So I was always competitive. I wanted to be with the boys, but I was not that outgoing person. So dance for me helped. It helped because what I couldn't say, I can do. All my emotions can be seen through my dance. Whatever anger, whatever frustration, happiness, I told that story through dance. And when that was taken away from me later in life, it was hard for me to continue saying what I wanted to say, and boxing helped. Surprisingly, because growing up I always thought boxing was this brutal sport. While my brothers did karate, I did dance. So when I actually started boxing, and I only fell into boxing because I started doing karate and kickboxing just to keep exercising. And I realized that boxing had a different story to tell. Boxing told something that I never really thought about while I was dancing. But in fact, there is such a correlation between both that when I box, people still say that I look like a dancer, even if they didn't know that I dance. There's such a story that they thought through my movements that I was so fluid that it came so easy for me, my movements. I wasn't that, they always say there's a puncher or there's a boxer. And anytime someone saw me, they just thought that I just had a fluidity to my movements in boxing. Now when I tell a story in boxing, it's almost the same story that I tell in dance. It's, look at me. I'm not trying to hurt this person. This person is my core. I'm the prima ballerina in the boxing world. When you see me, that other person is there to make me look better. So that's my story when I'm boxing. Dance for me actually put me in the forefront, but boxing took me around the world. I don't know which one I love more. They're both extreme physical activities. Actually, I think dance was more physical and more brutal on the body and on the mind than boxing ever could be. But boxing, you are testing yourself against someone else, and that's a challenge that I actually enjoyed a lot more. In dance, it was I'm performing for an audience, but I'm not really testing myself other than the physical aspect of the dance, which I learned. But with boxing, it totally changed at every moment. If that opponent changes and adjusts to you, you now have to adjust to them. And that's the mental aspect that you really have to be strong about. Not about taking a hit. I was never worried about that. I always tried to make sure that I didn't take a hit. That's why my name is Slick. But being able to overcome whatever obstacle is placed in front of you in that person that you never know what they will do. You can try to create an avenue that will force them into a road that makes it almost predictable, but it never is. And that aspect of boxing is what I enjoy the most. The challenges, the unpredictability, just being able to pit your mental strength against someone else. So for me, even though dance is always considered that feminine sport and boxing that masculine, brutal sport, there is such this, for me, almost a symbiotic relationship in both of them. They both have aspects of femininity and masculinity, or softness and strength, and or brutality. Both sports shaped who I am today and will continue to do so, even though I'm not actively doing either one. I'm stronger because I can use both sides of my personality that I learned from dance and boxing.